All right, we're back on.
Take two.
Take two. Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to Have a Chat with Matt.
Thank you.
We
for having
have
me.
our special guest today, Amelia Rowe. Get used to this name. Amelia Rowe is a international track and field superstar. Well, she actually hasn't made that superstar status just yet, but we're on track, aren't we?
Yep.
And so Amelia's ranked in the top 3 in the country for 400-meter track sprinting, and has just come back from the World Athletic Championships and in Tokyo. And it's just an absolute honour to have Amelia here, giving up her time. Amelia's actually just been with me down the local park watching kids learn how to run and run fast. And I've known Amelia for, 2 years now?
Maybe a little longer. I've been with Traxxas for a while. Three?
3 years. And I've just said, maybe you were still at school. You're in like your high school.
I was at school last year, though. I only graduated last year.
3 or 4 years. And so Amelia's just a phenomenal young person who has gone through so much in such a small amount of time, not just in athletics but in life. And just to be on the sideline and watching her growth as a human is amazing. And I think the reason I wanted Amelia on this podcast, I just feel like I'm really honoured that I get so many female athletes that come into the doors of Next Move, and they're, around this age, 15, 16, they're often dropping out of sport, and they're really probably haven't got those role models in the community to look up to. And I just think that you being part of the Next Move community and the relationship that we've got and what you've been through, I just feel like your story is worth listening to. And I reckon, I don't know where this convo is going to go, but I love having chats with you.
Yeah, of course.
And I feel, I guess what my first question to you really, Amelia, is what is your number one big goal? What is in your mindset right now in this moment in time? Well, what is your number one goal?
I've been asked that question so many times, and goal setting is always something that we're taught to do, and I've never been particularly keen on it. I find it stresses me out, and then if I don't hit those goals and I disappoint myself, but I want to set them high, and it's very conflicting. But obviously, the goal is the Olympics, and to see what I can do at the Olympics, and that's every athlete's goal. You want to make the Olympics. That is the pinnacle. But upon a lot of reflection, I think that my biggest goal is to just be the best possible athlete that I can be, to give the sport everything that I've got, and when I have to retire, have no regrets and know, I reached my peak. I did it. I couldn't have gone any further. I don't want to sit down and be like, oh, well, maybe if I just trained a little harder, or if I just locked in a little bit more, then I would have been better, and I could have maybe done this. I don't want to be that person that says I could have done this. I want to do it. And I want to do everything that it takes together.
Love it. You used the word just then, reflection. That's my buzzword at the moment. I just feel like I've moved away from thinking about working hard towards more, if I actually reflect a bit more, if I pause a little bit and think about what I've achieved, or the feedback that's around me, or what I see, what I hear. I've just been in this mode of writing things down, and through that exercise or that activity, I call it reflection. And every time I sit with someone, specifically on this couch in high performance, they always bring the word up, reflection.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by reflection?
Reflection to me is sitting with your thoughts and feelings and sort of sorting it all out. I have a very busy, very active mind, and sometimes it's very much a dual-ended sword. Sometimes it's really great because I think through everything, but sometimes it's awful because I think through everything, and it can be quite overwhelming. So, and I know a lot of people that I know experience the same sort of busy mind. So reflection is sort of quieting it down a little bit, taking time with myself and sorting those emotions and sitting through them and feeling them all as I need to, and choosing what am I going to learn from these emotions and thoughts that I'm having? What am I going to take away and when am I going to be like, okay, I've processed that and it's time to leave it behind.
Yeah. I love that. Let's rewind for a sec, because to get to where you've got to, not just mentally but physically, let's go back to where it all began. Like, how old were you when you really, I guess, found out that you were, quite a sporty young? And this is, maybe we'll take 3 here. But no, like, when did you really start feeling, hang on, I'm getting some feedback here that I'm actually quite athletic?
Oh, well, like I said to the kids this morning, I started when I was 8 because I did good at school. And then I floated in and out. I quit so many times for so many reasons. And my dad was the one who was like, no, you were quite good. And my parents have always pushed for every opportunity, which, at the time I was like, oh, Dad. And now I'm very, very, I probably owe it all to him a little bit. He's the one who sat and scrolled through all the coaches in the area and found Brian and signed me up for Strive and heard about Strive through the other parents and came to every single Strive meet before I was any good. I would be last in heat 3 and he didn't care. He was at every single race. And I think I realized that I could sort of be something. Maybe it'll be 3 years ago now, I think. Like I said, my dad said to me, you're decent, do 6 months of hard work. We'll pay for you to get a PT, we're paying for your coach, go to all the training sessions, eat properly, sleep properly, just 6 months. And if you hate it and you're still no good, then you can do it for fun. But until then, put everything into the 6 months.
I love that.
And then there you go. I went from 101 to 58 and then to 53 in a season. And then, then this season I went down to 52 and a half. So, I think probably 3 years ago now when I walked up to my coach and I was in the 1 and 2 program. I was like, Brian, please, can I do 400s? And I don't think he'd have anyone ever ask for 400s. It's normally something where a coach is like, you'd be good at 4s, but I knew I didn't have that off the bat speed for the 1. And I wanted to do the 4, and I, fell into it, and that was that. Done it ever since.
I'm really interested. If your dad was here, I would definitely ask him the question about, so he gave your daughter 6 months to commit to something, and you listened and you went for it. I wonder where that came from for your dad. Was your dad an athlete, or did he have some opportunities that he sort of regretted and he wanted his daughter to do well? Where did that come from?
We've had very brief conversations about it. I know he's mentioned he's quite good at tennis as a kid, and we all know tennis is a very, very money-filled sport. So, if he had made it, that would have been great. And I know he did a lot of football, soccer as a kid. He was sporty, but he never pursued anything. And I think he has mentioned that he does regret a little bit not putting in the work and seeing if he could have gone further, because he might have tried and it might not have gone anywhere. But I think that's what it was come down to in the end for me, where he was like, you're okay, put in the work and see if you can go somewhere, and if not, then at least never leave unknowing. And I think that's kind of what came down to it. He had those little opportunities and he didn't pursue them. And I think the entire point of my parents moving across the world for us to live here is to give us the best opportunities and to give us all the opportunities they possibly can. And England's a great country, but I was from a very small Sunderland, and it was not, I wouldn't be an athlete if I was still in Sunderland, put it that way. So
I've worked in Sunderland. I know Sunderland.
It's not an athlete hub. I mean, maybe for footballers, but it's not, I wouldn't be a sprinter. And so I think it came down to that. We moved for the opportunities, so seize the opportunities kind of thing.
So you were 7 when you moved here?
Yeah.
And talk about mum. Mum's a huge influence, hey?
Yeah, mum is like my best friend. I'm so close with both my parents. I'm very, very grateful to have such a good relationship with them. I know that I would not be able to do what I did without them, because it's hard. It's an expensive sport. I haven't got a sponsorship yet, and so they are investing in me. And without such supportive parents, I would not be able to make it as far as I have. They are the ones who initially, they pay for my training, they pay for my PT, they pay for my gym membership. They, mum followed me around Europe and looked after me while I was for my first European circuit. And they, through every mental breakdown that I've had and through all the highs and lows, they've been there crying with me, cheering for me, they've been on the sidelines for everything, and that's makes all the difference in the world. All the athletes I talk to, most of us have very, very supportive parents, which makes a huge difference.
That's awesome. Another big influence in your life is Coach Brian.
Yeah.
Brian is 81 now, I think. He's just turned 81?
81 in a week.
81
in a week.
I have a lot of time for Brian. The trouble is I just can't get him out of here when he arrives. But he's a guy that just has just dedicated his existence, hasn't he, to... He's been trying to find the gem. Like, he's been trying to find the athlete that actually wants to really put the work in, and he speaks so fond. He talks about you like you're his granddaughter. Like, he cares so much about you. He tells me all the programs he's doing, he put all this time in, energy in, and like, how do you share a guy like that? Because he's got a few athletes now.
Yeah, there's like 50 of us all together. Yeah, half of us on the track, half of us on the grass.
Talk to me about Brian and what has he done for you. Is it, obviously, I think athletes out there having mentors and coaches, they're a massive part of the chapter and how we get to where we get to. Talk to me about Brian, what he means to you.
Oh, I could honestly talk forever. He is such an amazing coach, and so I can tell him everything, and I think that makes such a big difference, because as someone, as I mentioned before, who's got a lot of head noise, sometimes that head noise can impact my performance, and I know that that's not the case for everybody, but it is the case for some. And your emotional state does impact your physical state and how you're training and running, and to be able to talk to him about it and be so open with him is, I feel like, very lucky. I'm very fortunate to be able to have that relationship with him where I'm like, this has just happened in my life, I'm really struggling with it, I'm sorry. And then he understands why maybe I'm not putting out the times I need to, and he's like, hey, he's the one who reminds me, hey, we're looking 8 years into the future. This one training session, you've put the work's in your legs, but it's not the end of the world that it wasn't the time you didn't want to run. And I think he knows me better than I know myself. He knows me inside and out. He knows what I'm thinking. He knows when I'm stressed. One sign, he knows. And so to have that has made such a huge difference to me. And you're right, the amount of time and effort that he puts in, he'll tell me he can't sleep, and he'll get up at 2:00 in the morning and have a thought about my program and go to the computer and change it at 2:00 in the morning. Not many people are doing that, and he's not in it for the money. He's not in it for this. He does it for the pure love, and I'm very, very grateful that I am able to be that athlete for him, and to be able to go this far with him. And he said to me the other day, when you're coaching, he believes that the athlete's got the ability. It's the coach's job to unlock it. The coach doesn't give the ability, which I know he's spoken to a few coaches, and some agree, some disagree. But I think that his faith in me gives me faith in myself. And on the days where I don't believe that I can do it, or that I'm not believing in myself, or I don't have self-confidence, he's got it for me. And that is just everything.
So good. A couple of things that you've been bringing up today is really about your emotional health and your mental health, and obviously that resilience to just keep going in your quest to get to the Olympics. This mental piece, you were talking, before this talk about, you've actually had some other people in your camp that have really helped you with that health and well-being.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit more about your mental support and who's looked after you there?
Like I said, my parents are my coach and my main go-tos, but at the end of the day, they're not. I don't want to burden them too much, but not that I ever feel like I'm a burden to them, but I also see a sports psych, and I think that bringing that level of professional help sort of thing has made pretty much everyone on the team that I've spoken to sees a sports psych. It's such a huge part of sport, and it's really important, and I think it's really neglected, which is so crazy to me, because mental state is such a huge part of it. So I've seen a few sports psychs. The one I'm seeing now, I've been with for the longest now. There's just been a bit of movement through WACE and stuff, and it, like I said, it has made the biggest difference to me. I feel like the development that I've seen in myself, and that others have said they've seen in me from May to now, is huge. And just working through that, and sometimes I feel like I used to feel like I was crazy for the amount of emotions and how much I was feeling all the time and how much I would, think and overthink. And I used to think that there was something wrong with that. And through sports psych, I've learned that there's nothing wrong with that. I just didn't have the tools to deal with that. And so to be able to sit down with someone who, in a completely judgment-free zone, and for her to give me the tools that work for me, and to try a little bit of this, that, and try every avenue to see what works for me, has really has changed the game. I think in China, when I was I was like, I am going to be in that final no matter what. And then I didn't have a good heat and I didn't run in the final, which is exactly how it works. That's how it went. And I lost it. I didn't know how to cope. I came off such a high of a season, and where I had done so well every time. I was like more or less unbeaten, except obviously by Ellie Beer, so amazing. And that was really hard for me to then come to terms with, that I felt like I'd proven myself again and again and again. And then on the day it counted, I didn't. And I didn't know how to cope with that. And it sent me off, and then my motivation was down and my self-confidence was down. And I think that impacted me all through Europe as well. Every race, I finished the race, and my first thought was like, oh, that's not good enough to I wanted to prove myself again. And it was a completely extrinsic motivation. There wasn't, the intrinsic motivation was gone. I wasn't doing this for myself anymore. I was doing it to prove, somebody wrong or myself right. And it was like really overwhelming. And then every race came with a lot of disappointment, and it just got heavier and heavier with every race. And then I was carrying that into every race and then not performing so well. So I think that then, being able to talk about all of this, sort of unburden it and being open about it, and then having the tools to deal with it and deal when these thoughts pop up and when this lack of motivation pops up, to deal with it the right way, instead of punishing myself for feeling this way, has completely changed the game for me.
What was that? You could put it into one tool. What was the tool that you used to kind of be able to reverse that?
I use a lot of journaling for it.
Right.
Like I said before, that reflecting and sitting with, because I think I tend to try to avoid the overthinking and just try to shut it down, and it never works and it gets louder. So sitting down and journaling with it. I have this one analogy from my sports psych, which I have loved. A lot of people use the leaves on the stream, and each one's a thought or an emotion, and you let it go. But that is too slow for me. There's too much going on. So my psych gave me one, and it's like a popcorn machine. So thoughts are popping and they're flying up.
I love that.
And you don't see popcorn hovering in the air forever. It always comes back down. The only ones that stay up are the ones that you choose to hold up there. So in choosing to hold the good ones up, and let the other ones fall down in their own time, they'll go higher and slower, and in their own time let them fall. And to just sort of sometimes when I'm really stressed, literally just picture a popcorn machine in my mind and imagine my thoughts and feelings like popcorn, and I'm just like, it will fall, it will come down in time, unless I hold it here, and I'm choosing to not hold it.
Oh
yeah,
I'm stealing that.
It's so good, right? It's such a good one. I love it.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Brian was with you in some of those European or Chinese meets, how that may have changed things. Or
I think a little bit. I said, he knows me inside out. He always knows the right thing to say to me. So, I mean, we did have the phone calls and stuff like that, but I think I was already so out of it, and then I was so disappointed in myself that I wasn't believing what anybody was saying. And it was hard, and I was sort of convincing myself that I was completely okay with it and that I was going to shrug it off. And I was trying to trick myself instead of sort of spinning it around. I was just trying to create this facade, and you can't trick your own mind, so I don't know, it might have made a difference, it might not have. I think it's really come down to the reflection, the sports psych work at the end of the day, and then everything that Brian says does have weight to it, and it does help. But he's very straightforward and to the point kind of guy, which I've learned to appreciate. When I was really young, it was always really scary, because I remember one of my first strives, I got put into heat 1. He came, and I remember this so vividly, and I don't even think he remembers this day. And he tapped me on the shoulder, and I probably would have been 14 or 15, and he goes, "You're in heat 1." And I goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "You'll come closer to last than first." Taps me on the back and walks off. That was end of conversation. And I was like, looking at all the girls, I was like, did you guys just hear that? And they were all like, oh, okay. And that was that. And then I actually ended up coming third in that run. And Brian was just like, oh, I was wrong. Great. You know, he wanted to be wrong, but he was preparing me and
Relaxing you, maybe.
Pardon? Yeah.
Relaxing you.
I don't know if it was relaxing me because then I wanted to prove. I wanted to be like, no, I'm not going to come. I'm not going to come close to the last.
That's coming up a lot.
Yeah.
With you.
I think I do have a lot of drive to sort of prove myself, and that can be, again, a dual-ended sword. Sometimes it motivates me and sometimes it overwhelms me. But
400 meters running is the most brutal track event. I remember doing it a long time ago. You're an individual athlete. There's a lot of people that find being in an individual sport hectic and lonely, and the sacrifices that you've got to make versus potentially in a team sport. Yeah, you've still got to perform individually, but sometimes you can hide a little bit amongst others. How do you go from Amelia, the individual athlete, to all of a sudden you're on the Australian team and you're part of a team? How do you go from, shit, it's not all about me now, I'm part of a relay team? Or like, talk to me about this team versus individual mind thing that goes on.
I mean, when it comes down, it's quite a funny one, because particularly in the relay, the minute it comes down to the four, we're all fighting for a spot in this relay, especially when they take 8 girls for a 4-person relay. You're all fighting for a spot. You all want to run. So there's that competition. I have found very fortunate with the 4x4 girls. I think we all appreciate how hard the training is for a 4 and what we've all done just to get there. That we all have that sort of mutual underlying respect for each other, and they all just happen to be like amazing, bubbly, sweet girls. And it's actually nice to have the 4x4 because there's so many 400 girls, whereas, you know, the other events there's like 1 or 2 for each event. And so there's that element of, yes, we are competitors, but like some of those girls have become like some of my closest friends. And, you know, particularly the older girls, when I can sit and talk to them about what they experienced at my age or how they were feeling at my age, or if they've got the same experiences, is actually very comforting to know that I'm not alone in a lot of it.
Right.
And in a lot of my experiences are not original experiences that no one's experienced before, and they're like, oh my God, what's going on there? This has happened to most of us. You will get through it, and there will be another side of it. And then, you know, it is hard to do an individual sport. You can't, it feels like you slack off. Well, not you slack off, but you don't do so well one day and everyone's like, oh, you know, you did bad. Whereas I feel like, I don't know if I'm wrong, but in team sports, you know, if you have a bit of a rough day, you've got the rest of the team to carry you for that game. You've got the rest of it going on, or you can come back again next week. Whereas like if you run one bad time, that might have been the race that qualified you for the next one. So then you are now not through. There is no next chance. There is no next week if you don't make it through, or there is no tomorrow finals if you don't make it. So that becomes quite a heavy burden on yourself. And, you know, then when I think it's very up and very down, because when you don't do very well, the disappointment and the feeling of almost failure is completely yours to bear. I mean, you have it with your family and your coach and the people around you, but you feel as though, well, it comes down to me at the end of the day. Yeah. But then when you do really well, when you achieve what you want to achieve, it's like, I did this. I really did this. Yeah. So it's very up and down.
I think just because it's most recent in your mind, Japan, the Tokyo trip, what was your number one moment or highlight for you that you reflected on, that you just go, oh, that I've just learned so much from that, versus what was your most surprising piece, your most surprising takeaway that you thought, oh, I didn't think being in a world athletics team I would have experienced that?
Oh, I think just being in an environment and being able to watch the championships of such high performance athletes, and being at the warm-up track and just seeing how everybody composes themselves differently. So, you know, some people will really like lock in and don't talk to anyone and look angry and focused. And then I used to always feel like, oh my God, do I need to be like that before a race? But I'm a talker. I'm a very, dancing and talking. And some people are like that. And so to be in that environment, but to see that all these incredible, Olympic champions, world record holders around all have their own way of composing themselves. And it just comes down to like be you at the end of it, which is so cliche and so overused, but just being you and carrying yourself in a way that is completely true to you and your values. And to witness that around me and see how far these people have gotten in doing so was huge for me. And the most surprising thing, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. Like it's, yeah.
Food, accommodation, weather.
The weather. I hated the weather.
Oh, there you go.
I don't like the humidity.
Right.
I don't like running in humidity. Not that I, but just out there, just like every step I took and every breath I took was just like heavier. And I was like,
Okay.
But yeah, that was probably,
cool.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we're running 52:45. World champs was just won, 47.78.
Yeah.
By Sydney. You're only 18.
Yeah.
How old's Sydney?
She's like 20. How old is she? 24?
25?
I think she's 24 or 25. Yeah.
Yeah, so in 6 years.
Yeah.
Amelia?
A second year.
Yeah. I'm sure Brian's writing up a program now, but no, honestly, what can you run this year?
I'm really hoping to at least get under the 52 mark. I know that I've got it in me. I finished that race in nationals and I know there's more to give. And especially now I definitely feel like I've hit a new level to be able to run 52:45 in a bit of wind and rain in Cairns and on a not so great track with barely anybody to chase. I had one guy running on the outside of me for the first 200 and the second 200 was on my own. So in a race where, all the stars align. So they say, the weather's good and I think I've stepped up a level and I'm able to get onto that 52 mark at least. That is my hope. I don't want to place too much value on a number because it'll come when it comes. And I think that by putting all this value on one number and not achieving it, it becomes a very heavy burden to carry and messes you up a little bit.
You might skip the sub 52, 51 area.
No, go straight 50.
Go to the 50s.
To be fair, I did skip 55 and I did skip 57.
There you go. It's possible.
It's it's a big jump though. I feel like the lower you get, the smaller the jumps get.
Yeah, of course it is.
So I did, me and Brian sort of set the sub 52 goal like for World Juniors. So, and that was a big ask. That was a very big ask. And when I didn't hit that and then I went into waste the next year and looked at my old goals, I was kind of like, I didn't hit that. That kind of sucks. So I don't want to do that to myself again and put a number pressure on myself.
I like that.
I am still obviously hoping for that sub 52. That's my
I
goal
feel
for the season.
Your biggest achievement is how you've overcome some of these mental health or mental demons where you pull yourself down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's when I went into waste and I had my meeting and they were asking what I want to work on and stuff, and I was talking about this stuff and they were like, well, what do you want to do physically? And I said, well, I do the S&C, I do the training, I do the physio, I do it all. And so at the moment I kind of need you guys to tell me what it is you think I should do, because I don't know. I'll do what I'm told, but I don't know what it is that I need to do more, because I'm just doing everything that everybody's asking of me. At the moment, I think if I can break through my mental barriers, I will become a whole new athlete, and I already feel like that is definitely underway.
I love this nourishment of being holistic and journaling. I think the fact that you brought up journaling today was awesome, because I'm just so deep into that. So I guess the next piece for me really is for anyone listening, knowing that you've overcome so many setbacks. You've gone through phases of where you've wanted to quit. You've actually quitted the sport. You went to surf club, didn't you? You were doing
I do miss surf club still. I do.
Yeah.
It was really fun, great environment, great people, but I knew I had to pick.
You had to pick.
Yeah.
How old were you when you had to pick? Because that's going to be a question that always gets asked to me, and I always talk about this one. Like, when do you choose that particular sport? How old?
I mean, I pushed it pretty late, but I mean, I know some of the girls still do both, but I quit last year, so 17, and I I already wasn't going to any of the trainings. I would just show up to the competitions, and I was sort of losing that environment. They, come down to these trainings. I can't. I don't have the time, and then Aussies is now starting to fall before nationals. If it was after, I'd love to go and do it. A week after nationals, I can afford to go and do it. The week before, when I have such high goals for myself, I can't afford to be traveling, running on sand and stuff. It was running at the end of the day. It was just on a different surface. I think I actually credit a lot of like foot strength and general strength to the fact that I was running on sand. So it was a great startup point. It wasn't a high impact sport. I feel like, if you're doing rugby and athletics, you got to pick a little earlier because that tackling or AFL, and it's high impact and it's contact, and there's a lot higher risk of injury. The risk of surf club injury in surf club wasn't too high, so I got to push it a little further. But yes, I quit last year, and I very much miss it. But I have a goal, and that is the Olympics, and that means the Olympics isn't some like la-di-da dream. You've got to put everything you've got into going there. So
Brisbane Games.
That is the hope. I'm hoping for LA as well. I would really like to go to LA. But Brisbane is that big goal, and Athletics Australia is really, really pushing on developing us and investing in athletics. Home game Olympics. I mean, when I was in Japan, sitting there, and when Japan was in the race, listening to that crowd was incredible. I was like in awe, and I was just like, imagine in 32 when I am down on that track and the home crowd is cheering for me. That is just going to be like an unparalleled feeling, and I want to get there.
I'm going to be there.
I'm going to cheering so loud. Get a megaphone.
Yeah. I'll be there. I'll have a banner. That was one of the best things you said, actually. I got goosebumps now. I really did.
It is, yeah.
And I believe that. Because I think if you believe in something and you feel like you belong to something, then that's where you unlock even more potential. If anyone was listening to this, what would be your number one message to someone that really wanted to take their sport to that next level?
I think obviously the very obvious one is put in the work. You're not going in if you're not putting the work. My dad's favorite saying is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. He lives by that. So there's that, but also be kind to yourself. You've got time. Leave with no regrets, but don't kill yourself over it. Don't overexert yourself, and because that'll actually end up working against you. I think my biggest advice is just give it everything you've got and stick to your values and be yourself. And you've something that always calms me when Brian talks to me is you've got time. It doesn't all have to happen now. It will come, and it will happen when it's supposed to. I'm a very big believer of what's meant to happen will happen, and what's meant to come to you will. And I'm a very big believer in the universe giving and stuff like that. And I think that having something like that to sort of ground myself and be like, it will come when it will, is something I would push onto other people.
You mentioned this morning to the kids, sacrifice.
Yeah.
Hey, it means that going out partying, drinking, hanging out late with your mates. You have to sometimes give those things up.
100%. I mean, it was hard because it got to a point in high school where I stopped getting invited to things altogether because they were like, well, we didn't think you'd want to come. And I was like, well, I'd still like the option, or maybe I could move things around. And that became a very hard thing for me at that age because I wasn't representing Australia traveling yet. I was just doing the state and national level, and I was already sort of having to give things up a little bit. But I wasn't that magically gifted child where I could do absolutely nothing and do. Then some people do have that when they're young. They can literally barely do the training and do amazing things. I had to put in the hard work from that get-go when my dad said, right, you've got 6 months. That hard work had to start then.
Good on you.
And like I said to them this morning though, it no longer feels like sacrifice. Like it's I don't feel like I sacrificed a party to travel to Peru. Like I probably never would have ended up going to Peru. Like I have, like I said this morning, I have been to 5 out of 7 continents, and I'm 18, and I have competed all over the world. I have seen so many parts of the world, already, and I know there's so much more to come. So to me, that's not a sacrifice. To me, that is, okay, I missed a little bit of drinking and going out and partying to like follow my dreams and a passion of mine.
Love it.
And the fact that I have that opportunity, that's it's not a sacrifice, it's a gain.
No, that's right.
So yeah.
I thought you would, because I think it comes back to abundance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like fulfillment. Like if you're doing something that, I think if you're doing something that you enjoy and that's something you really belong to, it's not going to feel like work or a sacrifice. Like people always say to me, like, why do you do so many hours? I go, well, I kind of do, but I don't, because this is part of my family.
You found something that you love. And that's the other thing when you say family, like surrounding yourself with the right people. I think, when you're in high school and stuff, you're with these people every day. And, I met so many great people along the way, but our paths were very, very different. And so they didn't understand what I was doing and I didn't understand what they were doing. And it kind of came down to that. And now I've surrounded myself with some of my closest friends. They don't do a sport, or they don't do a sport at this level. But I don't find them, oh, well, you're so boring. Go out, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I had someone say to me, I'll live a little. Okay. I'm living a lot. Like, I'm okay, thank you. Your living a little is going clubbing on the weekend. My living a little is traveling across the world to compete in my sport. So to surround myself with the people who are so supportive and understanding when I say to my friend, like, hey, look, I've got this comp in 2 weeks. I really don't want to go out and eat this food. Like, that's fine. Let's go have lunch at yours. Like, let's make what you're comfortable. What are you comfortable eating? Where will you go?
What a great mate you've got.
Oh, my friends, I'm so grateful for my friends and my family. I'm very lucky.
You count your good mates in one hand, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brian said to me, he says, if you've got that one friend who you can call and they will drop everything if you need, no matter what, then you're rich. And if you've got 2 of them, then like you're wealthy beyond dreams. So, yeah.
Mate, I feel like you're mentoring me today. Like you're a role model, not just for people that are little, but even people that are older than you. I think so. Well done to you. Okay, I don't know whether I've missed anything out. I feel like this chat's been good.
It's been a very good.
There's probably going to be another part.
Well, I actually wanted to ask you.
Okay.
I have 2 questions.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I know. I thought them. So, how do you know the difference when you tell an athlete, like, because I feel like this is a lot for people to know. This is something that I've been working on recently. How does an athlete tell the difference between you need to stop, this is a serious injury, and just like a little bit of soreness? I find that I sometimes struggle with that. I'm getting better, but I find that I don't quite know sometimes. And I freak myself out over a bit of soreness, or I'm like, no, it's probably just soreness and it's actually something I need to worry about.
Yeah. I think the medical world's got a lot of things wrong in terms of injury, because most people think about, right, I've got a niggle or a soreness, so I'm going to go and get a scan. And the scan doesn't say anything, well then I can't be injured. Well, that's not true. I'm a big believer in listening to your body, and before you start your movement or before you start your sport, you should be going through as part of your warm-up, you should be going through you should be tuning in and paying attention to your body like you're assessing it. What does it feel like when I'm driving my hip up? What does it feel like when I'm taking off the ground and extending my hip? What does it feel like when I accelerate? What does it feel like when I'm slowing down? If things don't feel quite right, then there's some assessment tools that I often use and teach athletes so they can pay attention to what they're meant to be feeling. So I guess it goes back to making sure that you're around people where you can ask the right question. But the key thing would be that if you go and try to self-treat those issues that feel niggly or sore, like for example, I might prescribe some mobility exercises or some specific neural stretches, or maybe I might use some trigger point techniques. Then if you then go back and reassess that movement after doing that mobilization, if you still feel niggly, achy, sore, chances are you're in the injury department. If you feel like, no, my soft tissue, my movement feels so much better after doing that release, it's probably because something biomechanically just needed to be altered or switched on.
Yeah.
So I kind of think if that trigger point work, for example, hasn't really helped you, I'd put you down the structural path. Yep, you've probably got something going on soft tissue, and it's probably structural. If those things are feeling a little bit better after you've done that little bit of work, I'd be going, no, you just had some awareness, you've addressed it, and I think it's also having faith and trust in your programming, that as long as you're not going from smashing yourself in terms of your volume, your intensity, your load, and the other one I use is density. If you don't alter those things by more than 5 or 12% per session, then you have to have trust in the program.
Yeah.
But I think if you're pushing yourself, and that's the thing in athletics, you have to push yourself so hard, and there's this real individualized piece where you have to have that continual debrief with your coach. How you're feeling, what's going on. I don't feel quite right today. Maybe you've had a shit sleep the night before. Maybe you haven't had great nutrition. Maybe you've got something emotionally going on that's altering you and making you tight. And then that's about going, well, I've got my program, I haven't quite finished it today because X, Y, and Z. And it's a really good question, but it's a game of Cluedo. It's a big puzzle to resolve, and the ones that resolve it the best are the ones that go to the top.
Yeah, so just learning your own body and what
learning your own body. Yeah. I mean, you would have observed in that warm-up track, Noah Lyles would have had his regime. And Sydney would have had her routine, and some people would be singing and dancing, and some people, and a lot of it is probably to do with mentally disrupting, because it's such a sport like that. But how do you know you're injured, niggled, sore? I mean, I use that framework that we've used with you before, which is, hey, you felt a bit of tension in your quad that time. We looked at your lunge archetype and found that actually the reason why your quad was a bit sore was that your hip wasn't going into full hip extension. So we just gave you some tools to address that, and then you're like, oh yeah, I can run.
There you go. I'm fine.
And that's kind of like a good way, or that's part of the way. But I mean, you'll probably find as you keep going through the ranks, you're going to have more and more people around you, a team Amelia, I would call it, and you just have to trust.
Yeah.
But keep paying attention, and that should also be part of your journaling.
Yeah, cool. And my other question was, obviously physio plays like a massive role in all sports. I mean, that's why you have physios traveling with every team, multiple. And my sort of question is how do you think that it's changed over many years? How do you think that role is going to continue to change especially along with all the new technology and stuff that we get? How do you think physio's do you think it's going to change at all in the next 10 years, and how so?
That's a really good question. We know, so I think that physiotherapy, first of all, is such an umbrella term. Like, physiotherapy is, you can be in a hospital system doing physiotherapy on helping someone that's on a life support machine, to helping someone that's just had a stroke learn how to walk again. Those things won't change. In terms of performance physiotherapy or sports physiotherapy, I've kind of moved towards more the coaching side of physiotherapy versus the clinical pathway. So most people have a PhD in the knee or in sports, often have a PhD in something, like it's the knee or the ankle or the hip. I love the whole system of movement. So I pay particular attention to biomechanics, and this, I call it the PhD in care, because I think there's so much in conversation that you have with your patient that they tell you that you didn't realise, or they didn't realise about themselves, and I unlock that, and I go down deep rabbit holes with that, because that helps me improve as a physiotherapist. And I think that's one thing that you can't take away from a physio compared to technology that's coming. I think sports scientists are going to have a difficulty, because a lot of technologies out there describing problems and illustrating like better power, better speed, better kinematics those things in terms of sports performance. But again, most coaches, most sports scientists that just rely on data, they're going to be overtaken by the AI robots of the world. But then you need people that can actually interpret that data and make it meaningful to the athlete. So I think that's something that you can't take away. And that's what I would be saying to an athlete. The difference between a good coach, whether they're a physio or whether they're a strength coach or whether they're a track coach, the ones that actually help you to understand how you're meant to be doing something or why we're doing it and what am I meant to be feeling, they're the ones to be focusing on. Physiotherapy, back when I first started, used to be really around, in sports physio, used to be a lot of, you have a physio table and you'd stay in a little room. Physiotherapy for me this morning was running, teaching 26 kids how to learn how to run fast. And we picked up 3 or 4 athletes this morning that had motor control problems, and we would call that injury prevention. And their parents came and spoke to us, and they're booked back into the clinic. Teaching Pilates, and watching people move, using our gym, watching people move, that's live physiotherapy for me. Anything, I mean, this is why I'm so intrigued about you and speed, because I feel like most physios that you would be part of in an Australian team would probably be waiting for you to have the hamstring soreness or the quad soreness or the hip this or the ankle this, whereas I think that physiotherapy should be looking into the performance and looking at, well, how can we get Amelia to extend that hip better, and having a relationship with the coach to go, hey, guess what I've just seen, and really nailing that. I don't know if that's answered your question, but I think it goes quite deep.
And I think that another thing that's important for people to know about physio is that something that I've learned is I used to just go into the physio or go see a physio when I was already hurting. And I think that using physio as a preventative measure and injury prevention is another thing that's really changed the game. Like, obviously, you know, I go through the physio at Wace and stuff, and I come through here and whatnot, and going in and just talking about what you felt at training that week, even if nothing went wrong, just talk about the good things that happened. And that's, you know, you're documenting it, they're documenting it. If something does happen, you can circle back and you've got it all there, and then, you know, your physio knows your body, you know your body. And so using it in more of a preventative measure rather than just, oh no, I'm hurt, I better go see a physio. I think that that's a really important thing for people to know, because that's something I didn't even do or know till quite recently. So,
well, I think because of that, in public as well, most people still associate physio with injury. I struggle to identify myself just as a physio. Because I just feel like we're doing so much more work than that.
100%.
But the thing that intrigues me, and the reason why I'm doing this podcast, is high performance, people that are trying to achieve the absolute best. I feel like these conversations unlock a lot more, and just even this chat today, like I've learned heaps of stuff about you, and I'm pretty sure people listening would have heard heaps as well.
Hopefully.
They will, absolutely. So off to England now?
Off to England, 3 months in England. It's time for a bit of a fresh start, learn some new things, try some new training, and come back for the domestic season, hopefully a lot stronger. And
Is Brian coming over?
No, it'll just be me. So I think it's something I need to do on my own. I'm very lucky. I think I'm quite independent, but I'm very lucky to also have such a tight support network that I depend on them a lot. And I'm, like I said, I'm independent, but it'll be interesting to see how I go. I think I'm going to learn a lot about myself in doing this, and spending the amount of time that I'm going to have to on my own. So it's a very exciting next step for me.
All right, well, let's have a part 2 when you get back from England.
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. Cool. Thanks for having a chat with Matt.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Thank you.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. It was really good.
Awesome.
All right, I've got to dash off to